2 nights in. I'm living the dream.
I don't know. Things just really aren't going our way.
Missed the show twice? Yeah, it's frustrating.
All I told him was, you better watch your tail.
That's fair enough, but I won't be intimidated.
2 podiums are great. Now my home race.
As far as racetracks go, this place is one of the finest. A truly fantastic little speedway here in Mount Gambier. Only a small track, but it's always fast and exciting. And how about the location? Around the corner from the stunning Blue Lake. The teams have travelled to the Limestone Coast after 2 huge nights of racing in Adelaide and Murray Bridge. Luke Dillon has been the man to beat, and local star Stephen Lyons has been quick too. The Americans haven't had the start to the series that they would like, especially Tim Kading. 2 wrecked race cars for him and a rivalry building between himself and Sean Dobson. The stage is set for a massive 3rd night of the week we call Speed Week. It's NZ World Series Sprint Cars presented by Hog's Breath Cafe. Are you ready, Mount Gambier? Because we're set to go racing!
Nestled away amongst the South Australian and Victorian border, the aptly named Borderline Speedway is a real favourite amongst the fans and drivers alike. Welcome to Mount Gambier, everybody, South Australia's 2nd biggest city and definitely one of its prettiest. The teams, well, they've only had just the 1 day's rest since our last race meeting, and they'll have to look lively if they're going to catch Luke Dillon, who's striding out a very handsome championship lead. 2 wins from 2 races has seen him open up a 72-point gap over Stephen Lyons. Defending champ James McFadden is 100 points off the pace. The first of the Americans is Shane Stewart. He's back in 6th. Stewart, who drives for the Luch Monty-owned Monster Energy Drink team, has been put into a different car tonight. After 2 mediocre race meetings, they simply ran out of patience with their first choice chassis. Will it be a winning move? Well, we'll have a better idea of that after time trials, and that's up first. So let's take you to our commentary team right now. It's Wade Ornger and Jack Perkins.
Well, here we are, the stunning little Borderline Speedway in Mount Gambier. Picturesque is a great word to describe it. This is the calm before the storm. As Shane Stewart pushes out with a brand new J&J chassis. They've ditched the car they used for the last 2 nights, Jack Perkins, and Shane is hoping to turn his form around.
Yeah, they needed to try something. The first 2 nights weren't what they wanted, and Shane Stewart out the box with a 10.7 to start with the new chassis.
Always fast at this circuit is James McFadden in the Totally Workwear number 25. Cool, has a bit of a personal connection with this town. His partner, Zoe Douglas, very much a Mount Gambier girl. He locks in with a 10.743. This guy too, a strong connection with the town. GT Bobcats, one of his great sponsors and supporters. Zoe Douglas's dad, Gary Douglas, is our born and bred Mount Gambier man as well.
Yeah, good to see Jason Johnson out on the track with a reasonable lap time to start. Here we look at Daniel Petska, local boy from South Australia, sporting the Gawler Farm Machinery livery this year.
James Rosenberg, his major sponsor, very happy with the way that Daniel's going so far in World Series, and why wouldn't he with a second quick time, 10.728 on the second lap. Now, can this man go back to back to back and make it a hat-trick? Luke Dillon, JP.
Yeah, Luke Dillon won the first 2 shows, and he's gone to the top with a 10.70. Impressive how quick and close these times are up the front. That's 4 cars that have done identical lap times.
Sean Dobson on the racetrack at the moment in that beautifully turned out number 97 car, the mainline entry, the Downing Brothers entry. Dobson comes in at 6th with an 11.005 as we see Brad Keller, one of the original locals around this area, lives in that Tatiara region, not too far from Mount Gambier. He's done a hell of a job so far in Speed Week.
He has, hasn't he? Been great to watch as he settles into 5th fastest time at the moment with a 10.8 second time.
Robbie Farr, there isn't a place that he hasn't been around and been fast, that's for sure. The the East Coast Pipeline, number 7. And Fari slots in with 6th quickest time with a 10.869. And here's the local hero, Mount Gambier born and bred, Stephen Lyons.
Great to watch Steve Lyons' home track. He's got the hometown advantage here this weekend. He's got a lot of supporters here watching him. And can he roll the number 3 on quick time?
Watching this Halls Haulage number 3, Bridgestone Tyre Centre, Albany, KPC chassis. He's going to light this place up, and there he goes. 10.651. Revolution Race Gear, quick time for Lyonsy.
And here we are now, the Cricky Motorsport team. They've done 2 chassis in the first 2 nights. Can Tim Kading improve and get a good solid finish and get the championship back on track?
Kading comes in 9th, but nobody can stop Stephen Lyons.
Last on the track, hey, no problemo. Stephen Lyons, that is how you do it for the home fans tonight, and congratulations, your tonight's quick time. Awesome stuff.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, given another great car, I'd like to thank Halls Motorsport. All the boys that work on this car do a great job, and it's a pleasure to drive, and it's just glad to put a lap down early, and let's see how we go for the rest of the night.
Perfect start for Lyonsy. He bags a 10.651. Last car to come out in that Revolution Race Gear qualifying session. Jason Johnson squeezed inside the top 10. Pretty well the usual suspects. Good job by Kyle Hurst on debut. Interestingly enough, 4 Aussies in the top 10. Only one of them not from South Australia. That's Robbie Farr. Great job by Pesca. Well done, Dylan. He's in good touch. Coming up next, there's highlights of all the heat racing, and the next chapter is written in the Kading Dobson story. So a great crowd in the house here at Borderline Speedway, Mount Gambier. Highlights of heat number 1. Philip March and Steve Cornt alongside each other here. Ash Scott in the field as well from the Scots of Mount Gambier side of things. Great to have Ash in the field. He time trialled pretty well. Steve Cornt got a good run going, and they weren't to catch him in that beautifully turned out ex-Jason Myers KPC. Heat 2 was a bit wild and woolly. Dennis Jones in the yellow car. He cuts down a left rear tyre. It turns the DJE car. Alforce has nowhere to go, neither does Rowett. Somehow, J-Mac drives out of that. Let's have a look at the slow motion replay on the injectorsonline.com replay. And Jack, when you punch that left rear tyre out, it snaps around.
Yeah, you can see that. The inside left rear tyre lost air and ripped off the rim, and it just pulled down and caused this massive chaos because the car's cut across the front of everyone. And look at James McFadden sneak through there. Unbelievable how he got through there unscathed.
He's good and lucky. That's just not a fair combination for the rest of the field, is it? Glenn Sutherland caught up there as well. Unfortunately, Jack Lee in the Rokewood Rodeo number 66 car out. David Murcott, he scored the win. He's always impressive around this place. Heat number 3, Adam Seeley doing a good job out in front, but there was dramas between Shane Stewart and Kyle Hurst in the high race towing entry. Now, dramas here for Nick Lacey. He's on fire right now, Jack, because methanol fuel burns clear during the day. He actually couldn't tell for a moment that he was on fire. There you see him rolling. The fire crew quickly on the job, but nobody at that time had the fire extinguisher ready. That's why you see the crew trying to pat away the flames. And then in comes the fire extinguisher right now. Scary. Fire always seems to take an eternity to put out, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And as a driver, that is your worst fear. You know, you never really think that your fire suit is going to be used as a fire suit. And look, you see the marshals busy putting the fire out. As we look at the injectorsonline.com replay, we see Nick a little bit of flame brush up the left-hand side of the cockpit. He's waving around. It's obviously too hot to remove that steering wheel, but he realises there's no one coming to his rescue, and he bails out of that as quick as he can.
Remarkable pictures here. The crew wouldn't have seen there was any fire until about now. Now, he doesn't realise at this point he's on fire because the fire suit is doing its job. When it starts to burn through, that's when he suddenly realises, I got to get down and roll. Thank goodness the fire in the car didn't take hold either.
A great testament to the safety gear that all the drivers wear. It's a 3-layer fireproof suit, and you can see there it hasn't even penetrated that suit. It's done its job, and that's tremendous safety.
A wry grin from Nick Lacey's face. Scary moment for his dad too, Brett Lacey, who's been around the sport a long time. Gee, it's always good to see when they look back and smile like that. Now, more drama in this heat race. Taylor Milling about to spin the 25. He kind of gets finished off by Sean Dobson. Tim Kading had nowhere to go. From the other angle, we don't really see it, that Taylor Milling was already gone. Dobson, unfortunately, was just the last car there. Couldn't check up enough and turned him. I don't think Tim Kading saw it that way, and that writes another chapter into what is becoming a very hot little story.
There's always rivalries in motorsport, Wade, as we can see the boys that didn't finish, Taylor Milling on the right, Tim Kading on the left. He's not happy, but as you say, I don't think he saw what happened, and unfortunately he was just an innocent bystander there, and a couple of cars have got torn up as a result.
Trent Pigden in trouble just then, so too Jake Tranter, but not Adam Seeley, the grandson of Mount Gambier racer of days gone by, David Veers.
First round of heats done, and it was really the third round that was absolutely chaos. Have a look at the damage to Nick Lacey's race suit. But the good news is, ta-da, completely fine later on. What is it like being on fire?
The main part about it is don't breathe too much, obviously, because then you can actually burn your own lungs. So very hot, obviously, like standing next to a fire, but even more intense because you're enclosed in a helmet. Basically, yeah, you just don't panic and get out as quick as you can.
Run through exactly what happened.
Basically, start of the race, I could just feel a cold breeze, basically, which means you get a little bit of methanol on you. Once we got going, obviously a lot of methanol came because the fuel was pumping, obviously, through the system. Nothing happens with fuel without a spark, obviously, so a lot of fuel doesn't matter. But when we stopped, the excess debris fuel in the exhaust, little flame, boom, just follows. Obviously, the flame follows the fuel up,
So you got out of the car, you looked pretty panicked at that point, and then did you start to notice this is getting worse?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I saw the flame in the car, but I was soaked myself, and unfortunately, like methanol, it's a very, very light blue flame, so you can't see it, and it catches the light very quickly and burns very hot. So it was very warm instantly, but it wasn't for these beautiful Revolution race gear suits, I would have been burnt. So.
Right, awesome. Nick, we're glad to see you okay, buddy. We'll let you get back to it because I know that the next round of heats is coming up, so you get back to that. Let's come for a walk because we're going to find the intensely unlucky Tim Kading from the Cricky Motorsport team. How about this guy, Danny Smith, all the way from the USA? He was late because, well, the flight from the USA was late to go from Indianapolis to LA, and then they lost his race gear, so he's in a different suit plus a different helmet, but it's his American counterpart we want to talk to. I can see he's in a big crowd of people. They're going to be thrashing to get this car ready. 3 nights of racing and 3 crashes for Tim Kading. He's looking over the car at the minute. We've got Danny Smith in here working on it. Tim, could we just grab 10 seconds of your time? I know you're flogging to get back at him, man, but are you going to get any luck in World Series this year or what?
I hope so, and I don't know what caused that thing, but the 97 car seemed to be involved in it again, so he's definitely going to get one coming here sooner or later. I'm tired of a tore-up damn race car, and every night it's been him or near him around it that's been tearing it up. So, you know, the Cricky Motorsports got 100% faith in me. We're going to come back, and we're going to show them how this damn thing gets around the racetrack, and it's going to be hauling ass, I'll tell you that.
All right, well, we'll let you get back to it. The problem for these guys is there's so much more racing to do here on NZ World Series Speed Week, and they're running out of parts.
Yeah, Cricky Motorsport team has a vast inventory. I'm sure that they'll be okay. They'll be just, well, rather annoyed, just like their driver. Now, these are the points after the first round of heats, not including qualifying. So those guys with 22 points obviously have scored heat race wins. Those with 19 have been second, 17 third, etc., etc. Qualifying plays a critical role in your overall point score for NZ World Series Sprint Cars, presented by Hog's Breath Cafe. Let's take a look at highlights now of your second bracket of heats. And again, remember, the guys starting up on the front row, Jack Perkins, they are the guys that had trouble in their qualifying, like Danny Smith in the green Bottle-O car. It's almost like V8 Supercars for you again, mate.
It is great to have legend Danny Smith here driving the Bottle-O car as we look to heat number 5 now.
Trouble for American youngster Caleb Griffiths, and also there Jake Tranter experiencing some problems, and West Aussie Todd Waddell. So unfortunately, when you got little kids hanging through the fence talking to you, that's not a good thing.
No, it's not a good thing, but Trent Pigden took the win there. Great to see.
Heat number 6, highlights right now. We're into the second round of heats now of NZ World Series Sprint Cars, presented by Hog's Breath Cafe. Seeley again looking very good, while Dave Challens, the proprietor of Camden Neon Signs, one of the distributors of the J&J chassis in Australia, ends up against the wall. Mad Eagle going on to take a very good heat race win. In the pits now, Chad Nailons with American legend Danny Smith.
So the heats are done here in Mount Gambier for NZ World Series Sprint Cars, and this guy, Danny Smith from the US of A, has locked himself a spot in the A main. Danny, you can thank your driving ability in the heats for that one.
Yeah, we first time in the car, a little bit cautious qualifying, and we were, you know, a couple tenths would have put us right in the hunt there, but got through the heat races all right, got enough points to get started 11th. So try to get out of here in one piece, and I'll go race tomorrow night.
Now, for a classy American racer, this isn't quite the attire we're used to seeing you in. Tell us about the story.
Well, I got snowed in there on Wednesday and got to LA too late to catch my flight, so it put me a day behind, and we got here today. But when we got here today, my bags didn't get here, no clothes, no nothing. So they started rounding up tracksuits and helmets and gloves and threw them all in the truck, and whatever I could fit into, that's what I wore. So hopefully that stuff will show up tomorrow. We'll be back to normal.
Yeah, it's difficult to race in someone else's race gear, although I'm sure, Jack Perkins, you've done that in the past yourself on the odd occasion.
Yeah, that's never great. When you always regret when the bags come out on the carousel at the airport. As we look now, these are the heat points after the last 3 heats. Danny Smith, Trent Pignan and Matt Eagle won those heats.
Jason Johnson, Sean Bradford and James McFadden also right in touch there as well. So we're starting to heat up after that second group of heats. Coming up, Shane Stewart, well, he trades the Mississippi for the Murray River with Bryony Ingerson, and we check out the Vortex Wings Top 8 shootout to decide who gets pole in the big dance.
Well, Shane Stewart, welcome back to Australia. Are you an honorary Australian yet? You've been here so many times.
I feel like I'm half Australian. It's just always a joy to come here and race, for sure.
This season, teaming up with Monty Motorsport, tell me how that relationship came about.
Well, last year I jumped in the 17 after I drove for Brent Kratzman. I was scheduled to jump in the 17 car once Donnie Schatz left, and things kind of fell apart with Steven and the 7 car with Monster, and so they had these races scheduled, and they asked me to go ahead and fill out the rest of the season for them, and we did pretty well, and so they asked me to come back this year, and it's been good so far. I really like, Luch. He's a great guy, and love working for Buzzy, and they all, you gotta get the whip out every once in a while with Buzzy, but they all have a good time, and they enjoy themselves, and it's really good racing for them, for sure.
You've done World Series a couple of times before. I think the highest you might have finished is 3rd. An American hasn't won World Series in over a decade. What's it going to take for you to win this season?
Well, I think one of the toughest things about World Series is all the events that you're in. You got a 2-heat format. There's a lot of points that relies on your qualifying time. I'm not the best qualifier, so that hurts me a little bit. But there's not very many races. At home, our series will consist of 60 races. So if you fall out of a couple of them, it's really not that big of a deal. Here, you cannot have any DNFs, and I think that's one of the things that what makes the series so tough.
What about tracks? Is there a particular track on the World Series schedule that you're not a fan of?
Adelaide. I'm not a fan of Adelaide. I haven't had much luck there, and it's just the way it's shaped, being so flat and round. It just doesn't suit my driving style, and I always tend to give the crew the wrong feedback, and I struggle with that for some reason.
Well, I think no matter where you are, wine is wine, and Amadio is good wine, and I'm going to give this to you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for spending some time with us today, but I have to ask you one final question. If you were to share a bottle of wine with anyone of your choice, who would it be?
I would say somebody like Michael Schumacher. I think to sit down and talk with a guy that's been dominant of the sport, and to be an F1 driver, I think that's a pinnacle of any motorsports. And to sit down and talk to him and see what goes through his head, and I think that would be a pretty cool sit down and maybe a couple glasses of wine with him. But he would probably be one of the top guys on my list.
Some interesting conversations from sure between you two, I imagine. But it's been great having a chat with you today. All the best for the rest of World Series.
Thank you very much.
Michael Schumacher, that one came from left of field. On the infield right now are our starters in the Vortex Wings Top 8 shootout. We're waiting for Kyle Hurst. He's in the pits right now with Chad.
Well, no shortage of Americans going through to tonight's A main, and Kyle Hurst is one of them. Kyle, you've managed to secure a spot in the gold shootout.
Yeah, this car's been pretty good. The track's racing tonight, pretty slick, all the way to the fence. We got a little top and a little bottom, so it makes for a lot of passing. So we just got to get the car right. Hopefully we'll be starting first 2 rows in this and go from there.
There's been plenty of carnage tonight, but there's also been one big highlight, that awesome move that you pulled on the entrance to turn 3 last lap of that last heat.
Oh yeah, I know these points are crucial, so I had an opening, so I just threw a slider coming to the checker there. Unfortunately, it worked out. We ended up 3rd, and now we put ourselves in the silver, the gold, so we're looking good. And thank these Rouge family for putting me in this car, and hopefully we can go do something exciting tonight.
Yeah, the Rouge brothers hoping for a big result for Kyle Hurst as Luke Dillon pushes off on a hat-trick. Trying to chase his third consecutive main event victory. Jason Johnson is always tough here at Borderline. Robbie Farr too. He is away in the top 8 shootout. So too is David Murcott. Now the way this works is everybody runs 3 laps against the clock. And you need to be the fastest, at least one of the fastest 2 in the session to go forward and have a crack at the silver shootout. So we're looking at 8th, 7th, 6th and 5th in points, and Murcott typically aggressive with 11.762, JP.
Yeah, this is a great part of the evening. It's very much like V8 Supercars in the top 10 shootout, except these boys get 3 laps to put their time on the clock. And as we see Luke Dillon, he won the first 2 nights. He'll be looking to ensure the best grid position for the A-main later on.
11.812. He's not inside the fastest right now. Robbie Farr, super aggressive, steaming up the right rear on that East Coast pipeline. Number 7, Maxim. What can he do? Can he get inside and advance through to the silver shootout, or is he going to start from the 4th row? Ooh, it's not looking good right now.
You see Robbie chasing up the track, looking for a bit more speed and a bit more grip. Jason Johnson in the 47 machine. He's always impressive to watch in these shootouts.
Can he get through? It needs to be around a mid-11. Is it going to be around? There it is. Johnson will sneak through with an 11.650. David Murcott will go with him with 11.762. So Robbie Farr will start the main event from 8. Luke Dillon will start from position 7. Out now in the silver shootout, and out rolls the Monster Energy Milwaukee Power Tools entry of Shane Stewart and local hero Stephen Lyons. He'll be joined right now by Jason Johnson. As we get set, and that man on screen, David Murcott.
As we touched on, Dave Murcott and Jason Johnson progressed from the bronze level in the shootout into the silver. Great to watch Murky. He's gone infield there onto the grass. Looks like he may have a problem with the 83 machine.
That is very surprising. They rarely have any dramas like that. Stephen Lyons, notice how flat and aggressive he runs that top wing. It's almost like he's peering down in the seat to try and see through the front there. Very little clearance between the top of the wing and the top of the bonnet.
There is, and he's a local hero. He's done a lot of laps around this track, so he knows what works for him.
Shane Stewart back with a new car in that monster number 7 J&J. What can the Oklahoma-born, Indiana-based American do now? Right up against the wall just then. Clocks him with an 11.912. I don't think that's going to get him through at this stage. Johnson now, always fast and a lot of experience around here.
Yeah, it is. He's great to watch. One of the best sprint car drivers in the world, and he needs to do a low 11 time to transfer through to the gold section, and it's 11.8, slightly slower than what he did in the bronze.
So Lyons will be quickest. He'll get himself through, and Johnson just gets through by edging out Stewart. Murcott will start from 6. Stewart will start from 5 in the A-main. As we progress now to the A-main, we know now David Murcott will have to change a motor. It's a motor issue in that number 83 as James McFadden rolls out. You'll see McFadden, Lyons, Johnson and Kyle Hurst now on the speedway. The high race towing number 99 Maxim. This Californian starting to get a grip with the place again. He's never raced at before, bearing in mind it's his first trip to Australia.
It is difficult to always come to new tracks and learn what works best and how the little secrets are, but James McFadden, man, he is so good to watch. This guy is absolutely at the top of his game, and he's still very, very young.
Well, looking to lock in 11.744. That looks very sharp indeed. Johnson, the rivalry between, we talk about Kading and Dobson having rivalry. The rivalry, although it's competitive and healthy between J-Mac and JJ, is pretty robust as well. Watching Johnson now, 11.938. That's not going to get him on pole.
No, it's not, and this is the best end of this shootout. Everyone is throwing everything at it. They're trying to take the track wide open as we watch Steve Lyons now. Look at him, he's working the top end of the racetrack, trying to get the most speed he can, and it's an 11.90. That's very, very fast.
Second quickest for Lyons. It puts McFadden on pole position. Crew chief for that number 25 car, Glenn Beaton, doing an outstanding job. So McFadden will get the lane choice. He'll decide whether he wants to start inside or outside for tonight's A-main. He lines up alongside Stephen Lyons. Johnson and Hurst on the second row. Stewart and Murcott on the third row. Luke Dillon and Robbie Farr will complete your top 8 as we press towards your 35-lap feature race here at Mount Gambier. Coming up after the break, it's alphabet soup. We do the C main, B main, and the A for 35 laps and 10 grand to win for World Series Sprint Car Speed Week.
the first time in this year's NZ World Series Sprint Cars, we have ourselves a C main. Now, the C main works differently to the B main. Tonight, we have just 6 cars ready to hit it out over 8 laps. We'll take the top 2 through to the B, and they can then have one last chance to make the show. Keep your eye on car number 14, Mark House, desperate to make his first feature for season 2012-2013.
Yeah, Chad Nallon's exactly right. It's Mark House and the responsibility on his shoulders right now. He just wants to get into the show, but he's still got to do a lot of racing just to get there, Jack.
He does, absolutely. As we watch now the C main, Glenn Sutherland around the outside and Mark House. Unfortunately, that's not how you want to start the C main.
The De Bruins Transport statewide turbos and diesel injection toll back number 14. Only the first 2 cars go forward from the C main to the back of the B. Then you've got to get into the top 6 of the B main to run the back of the A main. It's just, the nightmare gets worse.
It does, doesn't it? The injectorsonline.com.au restart as we see Sutherland around the outside. Great start there as they go too wide on the exit of turn 2.
Glenn Sutherland's dad is the man responsible, the man behind Gambia Earth Movers that sponsored Bill Barrows back in the day. You remember Billy Barrows? Raced back in the day when your dad was racing as well, not in Speedway, of course. Little David Challens spinning the Camden Neon Science car. And trouble here for Webber as well. It's very busy out there for this C main. Did your dad do any Speedway racing?
He did a little bit back in the day when Gary Rush was sponsored by Castrol. Obviously, Dad's team was sponsored by Castrol. He didn't do any racing, but he got to experience it, and I think he said it was absolutely excellent. The horsepower is sensational. As we've got another Injectors Online restart, this time Glenn Sutherland leading out in front, and he's got the run into turn 1.
Jack Lee, this young man from Warrnambool, in that 66 car, starting to get more of a grip for this car now. We see back in that 3rd spot, Ricky Mayolo in the TRG Transport car, huge crash. Stephen Webber unloads big time into turn 1. That's a massive, massive rollover. The car just biked up. He didn't do anything wrong. He just got hooked in there. There's so much horsepower in such a lightweight package. The injectorsonline.com replay catching that. And Webber has damaged the car extensively, but the good news is Stephen himself is A-OK as he climbs out a little bit ginger by the looks of things. C-Main transferee. Sutherland gets the win from Lee. The race has been declared. They'll go to the back of the B. So it's time now for your B-Main, the last chance transfer. You've got to finish in the top 6 in order to get yourself through the back of tonight's A-Main. Steve Korn's done a good job tonight. He'll start on pole position alongside Snow, Wayne Rowett, the Onion Farmer. Eddie Lumbar runs up on row number 2 with Adam Sealy, who's done a very good job tonight. Sean Dobson's been in the wars a bit. Philip March will start alongside him. Trent Pigden starting to get a bit of a grip on this place now. Pickles Cunningham, the number 74 car, will start outside 4th row as we prepare for tonight's B-Main. Now, Jack Perkins, we know you've got to be frantic in this. Not much time, 15 laps ahead of you. You've got to get to the top 6.
You do, and the important run into turn 1, you want to get into the lead and get out in front because you've got to be in the top 6 to get through to the feature race.
Wow, the track has still got plenty of traction in it. We see Dobson very, very sideways in the mainline number 97 car. 3 wide off turn 4. It might not be the widest racetrack in the world, JP, but it can be the busiest.
It can be. You're absolutely right. As we saw a quick shot of the two that transferred from the C-Main, Sutherland and Lee, they're going to work their way to the front and try and get into the top 6.
Yeah, there they are. Dennis Jones on the outside there. The man who came out of 320 cubic inch racing, the VSC stuff, early in his career, started to become a very good 410 pilot. Steve Korn from Albion Park Rail in New South Wales. A little bit of light rain falling on the camera just then.
Yeah, that would make conditions a little bit slippery as it already is, and it makes it very difficult when you're deep in the pack here because you get to the corner, you're flat out and you can't see what the track conditions are like.
Oh, Korn has hit the wall! The race leader is over! We were just talking about it.
We were. That's a shame. I think he was the pioneer then heading into that corner. A little bit slippery, got caught off guards, hit the catch fence. It's tipped up onto its side, and what a shame. That's a tragic way to get out of the B-Main when you're right in a transfer spot.
The other problem too, with no windscreens as such, Jack, with the tear-off goggles that we use, you would have had little prisms of light inside the tear-offs. When you flip one off, the water crystallises on the screen. Well, there it is, Steve Korn. He would be absolutely filthy because he had good car speed.
He did. He was genuinely out in front. He had good pace, and unfortunately the rain came down. As we see it continue to fall, makes it very difficult for the competitors to keep racing.
Here's where you have to be careful now, Jack. Your head is telling you just gas it up, put your foot to the floor. That's not going to help. We're going to have to be very, very careful with the throttle. Be gentle on it. You've got 900 horsepower. horsepower in a package that weighs about as much as a small road car. Very easy to spin or roll these cars out.
Yeah, these are tough conditions now. Every competitor's pioneering. Every lap the track conditions can change as we see some steam coming off the right rear tyres as they start to work harder into the corners.
Starting to heat up those right rear tyres in these cooler conditions. And watching Trent Pigden there with Philip March, one of the youngsters of the game, up against one of the true veterans. And there was Leith Alfors with 17-year-old, wow, Jake Tranter. All of a sudden, Trent Pigden parked the wrong way. And I think the body language with his helmet pretty well said it all. Very easy to do that. Trent is used to the big, fast, banked, flowing circuits like Kwinana and Bunbury Speedway in Western Australia. So the smaller, saucer-style racetracks just catching him a bit off guard.
Yeah, that's pretty common in all forms of racing. You know, get used to a typical type of circuit, whether it be high speed, low speed, and it just caught him off guard. And as we look at the injectorsonline.com restart now, and it's a great start back into the first corner.
Look at Dobson. Look at Sean Dobson, the bright orange number 97 car working on Eddie Lumber. Oh, there was nothing in it then. Great drive from Dobson. There was only inches between those two tyres.
That is awesome to watch. Whenever you can pass someone around the outside with absolutely no room to spare, it's impressive to watch. Hats off to both drivers.
Seeley just going through along with Alfors. Now you see Taylor Milling in the number 25 with Jack Lee and also Todd Waddell. A little bit of rain again falling on the lens. You can just see that crystallisation on the lens just then as we watch once more Tranter. He's going to be good, this young man. Mind you, he's got World of Outlaw star Paul McMahon as his driving coach. He's got one of the best crew chiefs in Doug Rankin also working on that car. So he's got the experience working for him. He hasn't gained in the race car yet.
He'll be a star of the future, no doubt. As we watch the final lap now, Sean Dobson's going to take the win now and progress straight through to the A-main.
Good drive by Dobson ahead of Snowy Rowett. Back to Eddie Lumber, Philip March, Adam Seeley and Jake Tranter. They all make the transfer now after the checkers. Pigden rolls over with fellow West Aussie Todd Waddell. So just catching that at the very end, an awkward rollover that's no doubt damaged the number 19 car.
Well, high drama in that B main. You can see still a bit of rain. Very cold here as well. And unfortunately for Steve Corn, a crash out of the B main. He was leading at the time. Steve, that's super disappointing. The car looked quick tonight.
Yeah, we were just it started raining and I couldn't see the rain, went in the corner and just went up to the wall. It's a shame.
You now have a very limited time frame to get the car ready for Avalon. What's the plan from here?
Yeah, I guess it's 10:30 at night now. We need to get it fixed, get it washed, drive 5 hours, sleep in between. This is not what we needed on a 2-night show.
No, well, you're back tomorrow night and clock's ticking, so let get back to it. Good luck, man.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks to our guys. They're going to be working hard tonight.
All right, I think that'll deserve a New Year's beer by the time we get to it. See you there.
Ta.
So unfortunately, Steve Corn is out, but the good news is David Murcott is still in. They've changed the bullet. Here's Chad.
It's one of the things that never ceases to amaze me about this sport, how quickly these teams can change an engine. Dave Murcott will be making the A-main, thankfully. How much work went into making that engine change happen?
We had 4 or 5 guys helping us, and yeah, it doesn't take too long. The motors come out of the cupboard pretty much set up, ready to go. So just a matter of unbolting everything and lifting out and lifting one back in. So done it a few times, so we've all had a bit of practice, I guess.
You make it sound so easy. How quickly did you get it done?
It takes 15, 20 minutes, I suppose. You can do it in under 15 if you really hurry, but we knew we had a bit of time, so.
A bit of time, sure. You're what, half an hour there?
Yeah.
Now, you say unbolt a couple things. Give us a quick synopsis of what has to happen.
Well, basically, obviously the headers have to come off because the motor won't come out without it. Radiator's got to be drained. Then basically it's 5 or 6 bolts at the back of the motor and 2 at the front, and we can basically lift it out. Then nozzle lines have to come off, probably just for a bit of clearance, make sure we don't break anything on the way in and out. So yeah, that's just a matter of lifting that one out, putting it on a cradle, and put the new one in. You got to line the drive line back up. When you're trying to get the new one in, which can take a little bit of time, but then it's basically just reverse that first procedure. So it's I see it can be trying, but we've got a pretty smooth operation here. The boys do a really good job. Dave Sharpen's had plenty of experience of doing this stuff, so it's good.
Yeah, he's had plenty of experience doing it, but really that team very rarely has to change motors. They're obviously good at their repairs. The English race engine ready to go inside that David Murcott car. Sean Bradford pushing away, Stephen Lyons, desperate to get his first win of the series and to do it here in the hometown. We just know that the fans would love that. Chilly conditions here at the Mount. Oh, I just love that. Even if it wasn't cold, you still have goosebumps for a 4-wide, Jack Perkins.
You do. It's a great symbol for sprint car racing. The 4-wide salute before the start of the feature race. It's going to be a cracking race as we check out the grid. We've got James McFadden on the pole with Steve Lyons on second.
Now, we haven't worked out yet whether McFadden's going to go inside or outside. He won't know that until he makes that decision in just a moment. There's Robbie Farr and Luke Dillon back on the 4th row. We go back to the 10th position. Sean Bradford and also Matt Eagle, Brad Keller, American Danny Smith, and the Bottolo car back in the field tonight. Tim Kading, a rough night for him. Pesca, he's got a pedal as well. Sean Dobson, Eddie Lumbar, Philip March, back to the final row of the grid. 17-year-old Jake Tranter, also rising star Adam Seeley, set to go racing. Lyons v McFadden in front of a good crowd here at Borderline Speedway, Mount Gambier. McFadden gets an awesome start, just peels away. Hurst, he gets a good run. Oh, what happened to Hurst? Just drifted up and lost about 3 spots there.
Yeah, it looks like something's happened. He's made contact perhaps on the run into turn 1, and then it's ended up in the fence and done some damage. As we see here,
Adam Seeley got problems there at the other end of the racetrack. It's actually in turn 4. Just see the Port Hall SA number 7 car. Low tyre pressure on the left rear. You shouldn't be too alarmed about that. The guys can run as little as 4 or 5 pound of pressure, as opposed to what, 35 in a road car?
Yeah, exactly right. Road cars and bitumen race cars run a lot more tyre pressure. Back now for a restart. Injectorsonline.com restart. We've got Stephen Lyons.
What is Hurst doing? What is Hurst doing here? Now, we did see him check up a little bit, and a number of guys go past him. So Hurst has got issues in this high race towing entry. He's climbing out of the car. This is devastating for the American. Wonder what is the go here? Down to the left front. Oh, that could be a steering issue.
Cole Hurst, unfortunately, already out of the A main. And one by one, you just went and had a go at all your countrymen. What was all that about?
Something in the front end broke, and I wasn't sure. Went into turn 1 on that start, and the front end broke, and something wasn't right. I couldn't tell. I went up next to Tim, and he couldn't see nothing. Went up next to Jason. He saw it was broke, so saw his best pulling. Sure enough, we got something broke. So unfortunately, a little bad luck tonight. Thank these Ruse family for putting me out here. We'll try it again tomorrow night. We're fast, but we just need some luck on our side.
All right, unlucky, man.
Thank you, guys.
No smile for Kyle. Plenty of racing miles ahead of us after the break. We come back with the resumption and the restart of NZ World Series Sprint Cars presented by Hog's Breath Cafe. So it's restart right now at Mount Gambier. Borderline Speedway round 3 of the NZ World Series Sprint Cars presented by Hog's Breath Cafe. Speed Week, McFadden your leader. Johnson quickly to the outside on lines. The racetrack is juiced up, Jack. We had a little bit of earlier rain. There's a lot more moisture back in this surface, and the boys are popping wheelies.
Yeah, there is a lot of moisture there. It was a wild restart. Interesting to note that McFadden elected the outside to take the start, as we see Shane Stewart in that monster car fighting a few of the elements on the inside of turn 2 and 3.
Jason Johnson got by Stephen Lyons. Oh, Bradford! Sean Bradford smacks the wall. There is rear end damage to the number 57. And the Savannah Engineers WA Metal Recycling Maxim will be out with barely firing a shot. Sean Bradford's on board. There it is, just got above the cushion. And we talk about the cushion. It's a rail or ledge of dirt that they can lean on to give them a bit of an extra purchase on the racetrack. It's probably only, what, a car width there. If you jump it, you're into the wall just like Sean then.
Yeah, it's incredibly hard to run the cushion. It's normally so close to the fence. You need to have absolute confidence to get right up there and hold it flat. Injectors Online restart here. Great start by McFadden as he leads by a couple of car lengths through turn 1 and 2.
Gee, he's good on the starts, isn't he? You just see Shane Stewart nipping down to the bottom. David Murcott on screen. There is Oklahoman. Shane Stewart. Robbie Farr slides him. Good job by the now Western Australian-based Robbie Farr. Stewart's going to take him back on the bottom if he can. Dillon trying to get his way forward. Frantic elbows up stuff here at Mount Gambier.
It is. You see Shane Stewart in the new chassis tonight at Mount Gambier. They didn't have a great run the first 2 nights, and they're looking to find some speed in the monster machine.
Now, Shane Stewart openly taking responsibility for that. He said that they built up a car with some designs in mind for the setup that he had. He took complete responsibility. He said they just didn't work. Oh, Danny Smith, the Bottolo car. You can see how warmed up that right rear tyre is now. Here's an onboard shot over the left rear. Wow, that was close. I think that was Dobson squeezing by. You can just see a bit of steam floating off these tyres right now. Cooler conditions, and these big American Racer right rear tyres starting to get some temperature in them now. Back at the injectorsonline.com restart. McFadden right up against the wall, Jack, as you said.
He is so good at those restarts. It makes it so much easier if you can lead and get a good gap on a restart. In any form of racing, you want to lead from the front and know that you don't get your opposition any chance to pass you on a restart.
Luke Dillon trying to win 3 from 3. That is virtually unheard of in Speed Week. James McFadden out in front of the lead with Jason Johnson in second. Robbie Farr, he's doing very nicely as well. Lyons, I think Lyons might have come back to third now. He has. In fact, where is Robbie Farr? Pesca battling with Dillon just then. Robbie Farr's obviously got some problems. He was up in second at one point there.
He was, as we see now. Oh, big move. That's a little bit of contact there on the left front of Dillon's car. He's our championship leader, and it's looking like it's a bit of a struggle for him to go the three-peat tonight.
Yeah, you're right. Brad Keller, it was. It snuck through. The man who ran second to him. And there is the Males Racing Engines Kynoch Produce, number 45 ART of Jake Tranter, the teenager. So back at the restart. Robbie Farr has drifted back to 5th now, behind David Murcott. Murky's always exciting to watch. Bear in mind, they changed the motor during the top 8 shootout. They're able to use that time during the C main and the B main to get out there. No harm, no foul. They can do that around the 20-minute mark, if not a little bit quicker. At times, some of the better teams. Robbie Farr, slide job on Murcott.
Yeah, that was a great job by the Murcott team to get that engine change. And another great move from Robbie Farr. He's obviously found his speed again as we go on board with Danny Smith in the Bolo machine. What a great camera angle. You can see how hard he's working the wheel. That's the inside left front tyre doing all the work, and he's gone around the outside there. Great move.
Between him and Phil March that he just passed on the outside just then, the amount of races those two have had either together or individually around Australia, quite remarkable. McFadden, your leader, but it's, oh, Johnson! How hard was he pushing to chase J-Mac? He actually banged the wall then.
He's pushing incredibly hard. It was what we're talking about before. He's trying to find the cushion, and he's just going overstep the mark and tag the fence.
Jason Johnson and, well, James McFadden, they have a bit of a Marcus Ambrose, Greg Murphy moment in their history to put in perspective for you there, Jack Perkins. So they always love beating each other. There's healthy racing respect, but they love to beat each other. Johnson throws a speculator. J-Mac covers him. That was nearly a race lead change there.
It was. He's showing the nose. Looks like Jason Johnson's got a bit of speed. Or, as we see, that's the Totally Workwear car, the 25 coming up on the lap traffic, and it's hard now. That's obviously how Jason Johnson's caught up to the back of him. James McFadden's trying to get through the field, and this is very hard for a leader now.
The GT Bobcats car of Jason Johnson, the Ragin' Cajun from Eunice, Louisiana. James is hemmed down on the bottom. Looks like Johnson's a bit more free up top, and I tell you who's lurking as well. Stephen Lyons is right there, and so is Robbie Farr.
This sets up to be a great race. You've got 3 or 4 of the best guys in the business. Jason Johnson navigating his way through traffic, but look at Stephen Lyons up the inside of Jason Johnson. The local hero moves into the second, and the crowd goes wild.
Well, you just saw then Johnson stay committed to the cushion with conviction. He stays up there. Oh, McFadden beautifully on lumbar. He'll pick up Danny Smith as well. Just had to prop the car then and keep it square. If you get caught in the middle of the racetrack, Jack, you will get aced either on the bottom or the top. The middle of the racetrack is no man's land. That's where Johnson is now. That's where you see Lyons all over him.
Whoa, looks like Lyons just got a little bit of front wing damage there as a result of the contact with the 47. Real close racing. This is awesome to watch, putting on a great show for the crowd tonight.
Johnson desperate to run down McFadden. There is Lyons. Just amazing me how low they run that top wing right over the bonnet there. Oh, Lyonsy. Very nearly what Jason Johnson did.
They're wheeling them hard, these boys. Are really pedal to the metal, as they say. This is incredibly hard racing. They're all driving the cars absolutely flat out, and they want to win and get to the front of this championship.
Jack, the track is now taking rubber. You can just see now the track is getting a black, sort of a shiny look about it right now. The amount of rubber that is spun on these racetracks, you just now see it's starting to get a lot of rubber in the groove, so the cars will be about the same speed. You might even start to see some tyre smoke here very soon. Look at how absolutely persistent Jason Johnson is. Bear in mind, it's $10,000 to win this race.
Yeah, you want to win. You want to win the money, and you want to win the night. And it's an interesting point you raise where the track starts to take a bit of rubber. The drivers have to learn this every lap they take it. Every corner they take, they're learning. Whereas in bitumen racing, VAD supercars, you know, you've got the team talking to you on the radio. You can look in your mirrors and use all sorts of information to help you. These boys are flying blind.
Jack Perkins, of course, plenty of V8 supercar experience and a dedicated and a noted sprint car junkie, joins us on World Series Sprint Cars this year for his expert comments. McFadden, your leader. He puts Danny Smith between himself and Jason Johnson, and Johnson very quickly brushes that lap car aside. Robbie Farr back in at 4th position. Shane Stewart now in 5th. He looked a lot racier tonight than he has in the first 2 nights.
As we touched on earlier, that team, the Monty Motorsports guys, changed chassis from the first 2 nights. Looks like the chassis change is working for them well. They'll want to learn as much as they can about this new chassis tonight and take it on for the rest of the championship.
Robbie Farr only has one more night of Speed Week left ahead of him. He'll head to Avalon Raceway and then he'll peel off the series and rejoin it later. We look out the back of Shane Stewart, the monster car, being monstered by David Murcott, one of the most aggressive throttle stompers in all the game, running that Eagle chassis. He was close too. Did I just see, looked like some yellow lights flashing on just then? Obviously it wasn't, just caught a bit of a glimpse out of the side then. McFadden, your race leader, right behind him is Johnson. What an epic battle between these two, and the American is coming again.
He is. This is great racing. These two boys have been at it all night. It's great to have a healthy rivalry between the two. You touched on the Ambrose Murphy rivalry we got in V8 Supercars, and this is very, very good. Keeps the racing very interesting, keeps the fans excited, and this is going to be a great finish to this race.
We haven't seen them come to the Ingalls Scaife situation as yet, and I'm pretty sure that we won't, but it's a good rivalry between them. Both of them have a healthy respect for the other one's car speed, and they would desperately love to get the win. McFadden again, he just doesn't seem to make many mistakes. Johnson's going to be right there, because if he gets a chance, he's going to have to get there, get it done, and get away.
They do, and they've got a bit of a break from the lap traffic now. Jason Johnson will be trying to get as close to McFadden as he can and then look to set him up somewhere. Looks like up high is where you want to go, but the track is so different in different parts, you just got to make the passing move stick.
Stephen Lyons will be frustrated here. He's sitting there in 3rd. He cannot do a thing with these two in front. All he can hope is that they bunch up in lap traffic and he might get a run on them. Sealy just goes a lap down. You can just see that Rowett is the next one on James McFadden's shopping list, and it is all too late. Checkered flag is out. McFadden holds on. Man, it wasn't through any lack of Johnson trying.
No, it wasn't, and that was a great race. That's pressure motor racing. Really good to see. You got 3 or 4 of the best guys in the business, but hats off to James McFadden. He's taken the first win for this year.
This morning he was in hospital with a suspected punctured lung, but today he's gone to victory lane. No wing dance today, maybe he's a little bit sore. We'll give him the NZ cap, some water from Eliminated Industries, which he deserves. And James McFadden is on the board in 2012-2013. Well done.
Yeah, mate, the Totally Workwear crew gave me an awesome car. We kind of let one go last night, but it's good to come back and get back-to-back wins in Mount Gambier.
35 laps plus some more thanks to the cautions. Were you a bit sore out there?
No, it was actually a pretty easy track. It wasn't very physically demanding, so that was a bonus.
Nice big green flag run towards the end there. A lot of cars to get through.
Yeah, it was pretty tough because cars were high and low, so you know, to get it done like that was good, and congratulations to everyone else.
Were you expecting to see Jason pop through at any point?
No, I was watching the big screen down the back straight, so I had an eye on him.
You had time to just watch telly as you were going?
Yeah, it was a pretty slow racetrack there at the end, so we had enough time to just have a quick glance.
Well, this is the perfect way to kick things off, and now Avalon and Warrnambool coming up. You're on the board, man. Well done.
Thanks, mate. We needed it.
Good result for the team, that's for sure. It's not like they haven't been fast every night, they just haven't always been lucky. Johnson, Lyons, Farr and Stewart rounding out the top 5. Good result for Pesca. Murky faded to 7th by race's end. Eagle was strong. Dylan, he won't be happy with that. 9th place. Keating, well, neither he. Top 10 for Quickie Motorsport. Not at all what he was hoping for. Dobson, Rowett, Keller, Smith and Lumbar. Let's go back to chat on the infield.
Jason Johnson places 2nd here at Mount Gambier. You're oh so close to James McFadden. What were you thinking in that moment where you just couldn't get around him?
Well, you know, it was laying rubber there in 3 and 4, and I just started moving down, and all I could hope is he was going to make a mistake or try to go around the top of somebody. James is a really good racer, and he don't make many mistakes, and just come 2nd.
Is it one of those situations where you just need to be patient?
It really, you know, when it starts grinding tires like that, you got to slow yourself down, keep the tires under you a little bit, otherwise you start grinding them off too much. So, you know, at the beginning of the race, it was wide open around the fence, and then obviously it started moving down a little bit in 3 and 4. 1 and 2 was sensational. It was a great racetrack.
The team does have some close ties to right here in Mount Gambier.
It really does. You know, it's home of GT Bobcat, and GT and Tracy have been supporters of personally mine for the last 10 years. Just couldn't have better followers and supporters in the GT Bobcat family.
Jason Johnson 2nd here in Mount Gambier.
Well, it's not like Stephen Lyons didn't do everything he possibly could to try and get the win, but if I know Lyonsy at all, he's a perfectionist. He won't be happy. He won't see Yosemite smiles here.
Mr. Consistent, 3 races, 3 podiums. Stephen Lyons in front of the home crowd, well done.
Yeah, thank you. Obviously we come here tonight, just want to try and keep the momentum going as we have during Speed Week, so if we can keep doing this and keep putting ourselves up the front, it will come. We tried our hardest, a little bit of rubber down there. I wish we could carry more speed into 1 and 2, but anyway, I'm happy with the result. If we can keep going that way, I'll be happy.
The leaders were certainly in touch, just couldn't quite get onto the back of them.
No, I tried through 3 and 4, tried to get the rubber off there, and then 1 and 2 I tried to bury in there a couple of times, but the wing was, I think, was hurting me a little bit down that end. I don't think it was doing much down the other end, but just wanted to lift the front a little bit, but I can't complain, it's still there, so I'm pretty happy, and I just like to thank the boys and everyone at Halls Motorsport, everyone that backs them, Bridgestone Tyre Centre, Albany, Valvoline, Cowtex, Hollowfresh, Halls Forge, obviously. Everyone else that backs the Squid Signs, CJD Equipment, I just really appreciate it, and hopefully we can keep pushing on.
Well, enjoy the packing up and the moving out on the podium, and we'll see you in Avalon.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, guys.
No attempt to hide the disappointment for Lyonsy. What you get is what you see with Stephen Lyons.
He's a competitive racer. He runs a theory, if you ain't first, you're last, but still a great performance to finish on the podium as we see the points for tonight.
Yeah, the round point sees McFadden. In the end, he picked up a nice little haul over Luke Dillon. Luke could be disappointed that lead would be starting to get eaten away. Well done indeed to J-Mac, Johnson and Lyons, your podium here. Of course, the next round is at Avalon Raceway in Lara. They get just 24 hours in order to prepare and then go racing at it. And we see the boys signing some autographs, heading off down the road. We'll see you down the road next time for round 4.